Well, good evening, everybody. This is Keith with Positively Osceola for another episode of our evening coffee club discussion. And as I tell everyone, this is not a prop. This is real, and it had to be here. So, really cool night tonight. We really want to thank the two individuals here closest to me. We've got Richard Tonks, who is the City of St. Cloud Fire Marshal. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. No complaints in the planet. And then a very special guest as well, Schreiner, who is the owner of Marsoc's Canine Training Facility. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How is everyone?
Things are great, man. You know, the community's going through stuff, and so you know, we'll all hope everybody stays healthy and we'll get that through that all together, as we've been saying. Interesting time for sure, but some things haven't changed, and that is the dates on the calendars keep on ticking. So we're just up against that big old July 4th Independence Day holiday coming this weekend. And, you know, we talked about this before we went live, which is that most of the cities, even throughout the nation, and, you know, in the large scale setting, have decided to cancel. Of course, with the gathering side, they've decided to cancel their fireworks displays. And that's a drag because most of us really like that kind of festivity. It's fun. It's a party for the birthday of our nation, and it's always a good time. But this year, that's not going to happen in the same manner. So we are all probably seeing the gigantic tents all over the place that are selling massive amounts of fireworks. So although that's a cool thing in a fun way, there are some things we should probably talk about. That is some safety, which is why we have you here tonight, Richard, and Kay. We'd love to talk and just get some suggestions for our dogs and other animals that might be not so excited to hear those random explosions. So so there you have it. It looks like the fireworks are going to be in the hands of the citizens this year, Richard. So what would you say to us in the way of safety?
Well, yeah, you're right. All the fireworks displays for the cities have been canceled, so that puts the shows in the hands of the amateurs, even more so than usual. I mean, as you know, we have that every year. So basically, you got to be safe. Along with all the firework displays being canceled, the state passed a bill that allows fireworks to be bought and shot off during 3 holidays: New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, and the 4th of July. So that just passed beginning of June. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to take advantage of that. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says that most firework injuries happen to the hands and the fingers first. The legs are the second most vulnerable part of the body, and the head and the eyes are the next. 57% of those injuries are burn related. To go along with the burns, the National Fire Protection Association says that in 2018 there was 19,500 fires that year due to fireworks. 1,900 of those being to structures, you know, homes, buildings, this and that, and about 500 vehicles and thousands of acres of brush. 5 deaths were recorded that year, with 46 major injuries, and millions of dollars worth of property loss. So it is a problem nationwide, and it's already started. Just a few days ago in Utah, they lost about 500 acres worth of a wooded area just outside of a neighborhood. And if you look at the aerial footage, the burn mark stops right at the people's backyards. So it was close. So we recommend, you know, don't let kids light off the fireworks. Don't light off the fireworks if you're drunk. Many people are going to be usually drink during the parties on 4th of July. Definitely make sure you don't drive drunk.
To go get more fireworks.
Yeah. And, you know, make sure if a firework doesn't go off, don't try to relight it. Just let it be. Stay away from it because it could still go off. That even happens to the professionals. Just remember all the smoke from the fireworks will bank down, especially as it's humid and a lot of moisture in the air. I think it's supposed to rain on the 4th of July.
Right.
And so that banking down on the roads, you know, affects visibility. And don't throw your fireworks in the trash. Leave them out in your yard, wet down your yard. Make sure they're nice and cool and wet before you put them in your trash can. We actually had 2 years ago, someone put a bunch of the fireworks in the back of the pickup truck and ended up burning the pickup truck down. And always keep a garden hose in your backyard while you're lighting off the fireworks. Wet down your roof. Most roofs nowadays are made out of non-combustible materials, tiles and shingles, but you want to be cautious.
Good suggestions. So that is an interesting scenario. So we're looking at a blend of activities all at the same time, really, right?
Yes. Yes.
People partying a bit and then losing some of their, possibly losing some of their sense, and then lighting up explosive devices into the air.
Absolutely.
I chuckle at it, but honestly, I love fireworks shows. I really do personally. I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great thing. But over the last 4 or 5 years, I found that we had challenges leaving our home. For what we do for a living, we're always at events. Even before that, I play sax out at SeaWorld. Sometimes that would bring us out to some of the parks, and we would be away from our house. And this is going to come over to Kay in a second. And so I would come home. I probably felt it coming your way. And so I would come home, and one year, we've had many German Shepherds. Currently, we have 3. And there was one year we came home, and one of them just decided that was nothing that was going to be okay. It terrified her. And so she literally broke out of her crate and just started digging through the walls, and it just freaked her out. And so we went to the side of, trying to give her some kind of medication that would calm her down during all that. But that is something that we see happen every year. And so I thought we would discuss it tonight. What do dog owners do? What do animal owners do in preparation? Is this something you hear about from people in general? When the holidays come, when fireworks start, randomly going off in the neighborhood, is that something you're hearing about? How do we handle that?
Absolutely. A lot of clients and a lot of people in the community have actually reached out to me with the fact that now they're not able to avoid the fireworks. The fireworks are going to be right next door this year. They're going to be maybe even louder and more frequent and more prolonged as far as the week goes on and after July 4th. So a lot of dog owners have contacted me with ways to help with anxiety and training techniques, and along with my own clients and my own boarding dogs. So unfortunately, with how things are going with COVID-19, we can't avoid it, and our dogs can't avoid it either. So things that we need to remember: if you're not going to be home and there might be possibilities of fireworks next door, make sure that your dogs have identification on them. Make sure that your microchips are up to date. I can't tell you how many times I have been in contact with dog owners and or animal services where those microchips are actually saving your dog's life. They're able to relocate and find their owners. You'll be very surprised during these stressful times, dogs will find a way to escape. They'll break through cages, they'll go through walls, they'll go through windows, they'll jump fences that they've never jumped, or they might even dig out of your yard. And such a simple thing as having your dog properly licensed and having a microchip could save your dog's life and reunite them at home. So anxiety is a really, really big thing. And there are medications that you can get from your vet, but I always advise properly training your dog and starting from the ground up as far as foundation work is concerned. So unfortunately, these dogs are victims of, not understanding these loud noises, not understanding what's going on next door. And dogs hear so much more than we do. They feel the vibrations. They sense the anxiety. They can feel it in the environment, which is why so many of these dogs have such an issue with thunderstorms and hurricanes. They can feel them coming. So there's ways to help prevent your dog from having these episodes. There's products called the Thunder Shirt that you could use. Maybe your dog will feel more secure in a crate rather than having the house to himself all alone. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're at home with your dogs, there's things that you can do as far as that is concerned as well. Keeping your dog on a leash and by your side. Comforting your dog is another fantastic thing. Or offering your dog something to do rather than paying attention to what's going on outside, such as a new toy, a Kong or frozen peanut butter, a delicious bone that they've never had before. So as this becomes more of a problem, and as every single day gets closer and closer to July 4th, and the evenings are full of more and more fireworks, this would be a very good time to kind of start getting your dog used to it and kind of desensitizing them to it as well.
That's great. So do you, is that something that you actually work into the training that you do in a general sense, working with desensitizing the dogs you're dealing with, making sure that is that part of the training you actually do?
Absolutely. I have a kennel. I'll have about 30 dogs here for July 4th, and I'll have a full staff here as well. So we never get to really enjoy it because we're making sure that all the dogs here are safe and sound and they're working through any issues that they're having. So I do have a gun range on property. So any dog that has any sort of issues with loud noises, what we'll start to do is incorporate it into their training and desensitize them. And basically what we're doing is we're working around the loud noises, and basically they get very used to it and comfortable. My working dogs and my puppies are exposed to loud noises from day one. They're around gunfire, they're around vacuums, they're around these things, and they train around them and they eat around it. So it just becomes a very, very positive thing. They don't react to it. So a lot of times the problem is that these dogs, a lot of them are rescued, or a lot of them have developed this fear through humans. Right. Because what happens is they'll be caught off guard, maybe a loud noise, maybe a car backfires, a gunshot, a firework. And what happens is a human will naturally comfort the dog that comes to them. The person will talk to them and reinforce the behavior. No, it's okay, Fluffy. It's okay. It's just a firework. So in the dog's mind, they just got positively reinforced. They were just consoled. They were just petted. They were just reinforced to hide under their owner's leg. So what first started off as them being startled by the fireworks, startled by loud noises, or having a reaction to thunder and lightning, now turns into a fear, now turns into bad habits and a straight phobia, where now the dog can't function and even be outside during these storms, and now they become very anxiety filled. So a lot of it can either be nurture, or it can be something that has been developed through human involvement. And that's one of the things that we find with the dogs that come here. As far as exposure is concerned, these puppies, it's very important to expose them at a young age. I do a lot of service dogs for PTSD. I do a lot of service dogs with my nonprofit as well. These service dogs have to be able to function around things such as fireworks and thunderstorms. These dogs just can't quit on us. It's very, very important that these service dogs are backing their owners, and maybe their owners have the anxiety. And what happens is it feeds into the dog. So the dog has to be able to work through these problems and work through the environment and be able to still function and be their partner in crime, basically. So it is a very strenuous process that involves a lot of exposure that definitely needs to be handled by a professional, so that you're able to figure out when you can push your dog a little further or when you need to end the training session.
Right. So, Rich, we've had a little bit of rain the last couple of days. I think people get really comfortable quick when we see a couple showers happen, but in reality, we had a dry spell with the Saharan dust entering into our area. So, would you look at the current status as being kind of a moderate dry danger level, or would you say we just got to be really extra careful right now? There's
Marsoc.
I would say don't let your guard down. We have had some rain, but I don't believe it's been enough to make a huge impact on the drought conditions. The heat we've had lately has been enough to dry things out, and it's going to take a lot of rain to get us back to where we really need to be. But sometimes the rain just coats the surface, but the underbrush is still very dry.
Sure.
And so you have to be aware of that stuff too. So don't let the little bit of rain we do have fool you, because even in a rainstorm, lightning can still set fires. So as long as the conditions are there.
Yeah, for some reason I live out near Bay Lake Ranch. For some reason, when everybody else is reporting sideways rain, I can drive through it and get right back to my house, and I've got the Dust Bowl of a mile radius around my home. It's still dusty and nothing green, but that's just me. It's a personal thing. Don't know what that is. What are you
I
gonna
don't
do?
know if you can hear it on the camera, but my neighbors are already starting with the fireworks right now. I hear a whole bunch of them a few streets over.
We called them and asked if they would help out with tonight's.
Yeah, good thinking. Thank you.
Probably not. So, Richard, why don't you tell us while we've got you here, because I know you're busy. Why don't you tell us on a non-July 4th fireworks discussion? So, tell us a little bit more about what you do and within the city of St. Cloud.
I'm the fire marshal, one of the deputy chiefs in charge of the fire marshal office. I've been with the city for coming up on 20 years now. I oversee all of the inspections of new construction, existing businesses. I do construction plans review for all new construction in the city. I do a fire investigation. We had 3 investigations just last week. And I also do all public education for the city. Go around to all the schools and other community events, and I oversee that program. This year's Fire Prevention Week, which is in October, might be, I don't know if we're going to be able to get to the schools this year because of all the social distancing. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we still try to get our message out there virtually, or somehow we're going to have to get a little creative this year.
Let us know. We'd be glad to help. And so with all the development taking place in this area, you certainly don't have a light schedule as far as helping people understand what to do. So let me push that same kind of thing to you, Kay. So for those people who may not have heard of what you're doing in your business, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. So I have 2 things going on the property. I have Marsoc's canine training facility, and we do all sorts of different type of training. We do private lessons, group lessons, and then we specialize in our stay and train program. So we do everything from puppies to your aggressive dogs. Maybe they have fear issues, or maybe they have accidentally bit another dog or bit a person. And then we have our sport training as well for anyone who's interested in doing things such as frisbee, agility, or just getting out with your dog. So we have many, many different types of programs here. And then the other thing that we have is also Pause Against Domestic Violence, which is a nonprofit where I go around and I find dogs that will qualify for the program. And basically my company will train them and certify them as service dogs for victims and survivors of domestic violence. Now, these dogs have extensive training, and they are going to be placed with these people to basically be able to go with them wherever they need to make sure that they're able to get back into society and basically overcome their past and have a bright new future. So these dogs, they have to be bulletproof. They cannot be reactive to fireworks. They have to make sure that their owners are safe and that they're able to improve their quality of life, not make things more difficult. So there's a lot of training that goes on with the property. On top of that, we do boarding. So it's definitely a day that goes to the dogs all day around. And I have awesome people that help me out, but it is always a lot of fun. You never know what's going to go on around here. And every single dog has just awesome personality. And the people that come and the people that train here, they stay here and they become family. So it's a lot of fun that people trust me with their dogs when they're on vacation, even when they have anxiety and issues with fireworks. They know that they're in good hands here. So it's always a good thing to have in your back pocket if you're looking for any sort of help with your pup.
That's awesome. So tell somebody, if you wouldn't mind, just give everybody an idea how to get a hold of you if they're interested in any of those services that you provide, and specifically in the domestic violence area.
Well, the domestic violence is 100% anonymous. People don't have to share their story with the world. If people just want to talk, we do offer counseling. I've been able to talk to a lot of men and women who have had some sort of domestic issue in the past. And the best way to reach me through that would be on Facebook through Pause Against Domestic Violence and or my business, Marsoc Canine Training Facility. Both numbers would be 407-408-1701. So even if you have been struggling, we have 2 dogs right now that are available for adoption. And the main thing here is that they're free to a victim of domestic violence. And basically they are going to be able to be with you for life. And you can use my training facility for life as well. So it's a good thing to have out here in the community, especially with what's going on with domestic violence these days. There's a lot more than just counseling and keeping the problems to yourself. Let's get man's best friend involved, and let's get you out in the community, and let's make things right for sure.
Awesome.
So all day long.
That's awesome. So Richard, same thing to you. What if somebody has, if businesses or individuals have questions pertaining to what you do? How could they get a hold of you?
You can always call me on my office phone, 407-957-8484. And I can always answer any question. And if I can't answer it, you can call the local fire station. Only call 911 for an emergency, obviously.
Gotcha. Awesome. And I'll put all that information in this thread as well. Hey, I wanted just last thing to, we were going to have a guest tonight talking specifically about how this also, the fireworks can also contribute to triggering those who suffer from PTSD. Certainly a subject that's worthy talking about. And it's a challenge, I think. So we're really, I should probably come back around and say, I think we all understand. This is a celebratory holiday for sure. Lots of tradition, lots of fun, family and friends. And it should stay that way, specifically with all that the nation and the world are, what's going on with COVID-19. Certainly when you find that holiday, you want to vent out and say, okay, this is a little piece of normal. We're going to have a lot of fun. And so I hope everybody does. Our point tonight was to talk with some experts and just get that point out there that although it should be fun and just a blast of a time, there are other considerations involved. Here's a quote, and this is about veterans with PTSD. And the quote says, although the loud noise of the fireworks can itself be triggering of traumatic memories, typically it is the unpredictability of the explosion that activates the arousal system or sympathetic nervous system. And that's from Todd K., favorite PhD, a clinical assistant professor of psychiatry and director of the Psychological Clinic. So it's real. A lot of veterans that I know that we've talked about this, and it can be a tough time for veterans when it triggers, symptoms of PTSD. So it's a challenge. Our encouragement tonight would be to everybody just do your best to have a good time, be safe. We thank you, Richard Tonks, for being here tonight. And we certainly thank Kay Schreiner as well. So we hope everybody has a safe and celebratory time this weekend. But I hope that people will think of others and maybe our pets and are safe while they're having a good time. So again, I appreciate you guys coming tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me. Have a safe 4th of July.
You as well. Be safe. I hope your families are all healthy. Again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola, along with the City of St. Cloud Fire Marshal Richard Tonks and Kay Schreiner, the owner of Marsoc's Canine Training Facility in St. Cloud. Together, we are making a positive difference in Osceola County. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.